area you were speaking of?
Well, I can't see what's on your screen, but the Victorian Inn, which is over 130 years old across the street from our house, that's what happened there. That door, those huge doors, usually during a big one, that door seems to fall off the hinges. But just surveying all the storefronts, the grocery store, the liquor store, et cetera, it's just stuff off the shelves.
That's what we're seeing.
It's amazing.
And it's like a bar with a lot of bottles and glass that fell and hit the floor. And so probably some destruction of property, but I don't see any structural. And that's what you're seeing in downtown, not really structural damage?
No structural. Okay. It's very calm. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. Everybody is going about their business. So I think we dodged a bullet.
Oh, that's good to hear. And you're not hearing of any gas line breaches or hearing about any fires or anything like that?
We had a transformer blow just a couple of houses down from us, and power was out for just a little bit, but it's back on. So everybody seems to be, just picking up the pieces and moving on with their day.
Well, that's certainly good news there that there was minimal damage. Carolyn, as you very well know, you're no stranger to feeling earthquakes. It seems that there were several sizable ones there in Humboldt County over the last few years in 2021 and 2022. But walk us through what you felt as the earthquake rolled in.
Well, you live in California. You get sort of used to that first split second saying, okay, is this something I should be worried about? And then you knew it hit, and you're like, get outside. So I ran outside, and it always amazes me when you see your car jumping about. So the car was jumping about, and we actually have a granddaughter at a preschool maybe about a block away. So we immediately started running to the children's center, where all the kids were outside underneath a play structure, and the teacher was calming these toddlers down and singing the ABC song and did a terrific job. And so we are very lucky.
Fantastic. Caroline, on the right, we are now showing video that we got from Valley Grocery. That is a grocery store in Ferndale. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And what I'm seeing is a lot of boxes that have fallen off the shelves and are littering the aisles, so to speak. But again, I'm not seeing any destruction damage to the building itself or really the windows.
There's no structural damage. And it's kind of there's a wine meter as far as bottles falling off shelves, and when I walked in, the clerk said we didn't lose hardly any wine. So
that's always a relief.
The unofficial magnitude scale there in Ferndale.
The mac and cheese.
Exactly. Obviously, we're making the light of the situation because we've heard so far no reports of serious structural damage, no reports of injuries or deaths, which is the really important thing that we're always concerned about. And it sounds like, even the small children are faring well there in Ferndale. Carolyn, we've also been showing images of folks along the coastline trying to catch the view, trying to catch a last-minute wave. What would your advice be to the folks there who are perhaps not heeding the same advice as you are?
Well, we live 5 miles from the Pacific Ocean, and it's called the Lost Coast for a reason. It's not somewhere that you go surf or you go in the water. It's very rugged. So we're pretty self-reliant people up here, so we know what to do. And I doubt here in Ferndale there are people out at the beach. So, but I don't know that. I'm not out there. But we're used to earthquakes.
Yes, as are we. But here on our coastline, we are seeing some folks in the ocean even now. But Caroline, we thank you so much. Oh, by the way, I don't know if those were the doors that you were referring to earlier, but we have new footage of some doors from a restaurant or bar that looks like they've fallen off and got unhinged. But other than that, given that it was a 7.0, still seeing minimal, if you will, damage that's expected in the range of this kind of an earthquake. Caroline Titus, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. In the meantime, if you're just joining us, we had a 7.0 earthquake about an hour ago off the coast of Humboldt County, and we want to show you some of the closures in the Bay Area as a result, some of the, systems that have been affected as a result of this earthquake. So we're not sure if we can pull that up right now, but we will just tell you what we know. We know that the Caltrain system is back and running after an earlier closure. We do understand that BART still has delays. Transbay Tube closed immediately in the aftermath, and some other directions on the Red Line were delayed or paused. And right now we are hearing about slow resumption, but definitely expect delays. We're looking at this footage. I want to find out what's going on the left there, because on the left side of your screen, okay, Sky 7 is over San Mateo County, and we are not sure if that's an official boat, authorities, Coast Guard, or if it's a personal leisure, recreational boat. But certainly anyone who doesn't need to be out on the water right now in the ocean should not be, because we're still under that active tsunami warning. And 12:10 is supposed to be the time it arrives here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can see that those boats are currently on full throttle, I imagine, trying to get back to the coast before more intense waves that could be triggered from a tsunami could potentially roll in the next 15 minutes or so. As Kristen mentioned, 12:10, the really important time that we're watching closely here. Sky 7 is doing its thing. It's trying to find us the best pictures to show you. So bear with us as we get a better picture there. On the right-hand side of the screen, though, we are looking from our Exploratorium camera, where we see just very small waves rolling in across the bay. We do want to mention that the Exploratorium itself, though, is currently closed right now.
On the other side of San Francisco is Ocean Beach, and we want to check in with our reporter, ABC 7 News reporter Ansar Hassan, who is there now. We understand the Great Highway is closed there, right, Ansar?
Yeah, that's right, guys. We just got here a few minutes ago. You can see the waves behind me looking pretty strong. We're hearing from seismologists, as you mentioned, the waves related to the tsunami should hit this coast around 12:10. Now, police are going through the beach, warning people to get out. We spoke to Dr. Lucy Jones, a seismologist with Caltech. She's actually somewhat optimistic. She says the plates hit in a horizontal movement, which suggests that that would have a smaller impact on the waves, and that the tsunami waves may not be that big. A tsunami, as you all know, is a series of waves, and they expect those waves to come in over a period of several hours. Now, the San Francisco Fire Department, on the other hand, is warning anybody along the coast to move in about 1 mile or to get above sea level, excuse me, 100 feet above sea level. As you mentioned, the roads are closed along the area, and they're also asking people to evacuate. That is the very latest out here. We'll keep an eye on this. Ansar Hassan, ABC 7 News.
Okay, Ansar, thank you so much. Obviously, we'll be the Pacific coastline as more information rolls in and as we get closer to that forecasted time of when we could see some of those tsunami-like waves around 12:10 right now. But we are showing this on your screen. We'll read it along with you. This is an immediate evacuation notice in place for areas of Fremont west of Interstate 880. Obviously, all of this associated with that tsunami warning that is a direct impact or result of that strong, powerful 7.0 magnitude earthquake that was felt off the coast of Humboldt County in Northern California. The Fremont police chief has issued an immediate evacuation for the people living and working in the areas of Fremont west of 880 in Fremont due to the tsunami warning. It's expected to reach SF Bay at approximately. Please do not call 911. If it is not an absolute emergency, just leave right away and head south and to the east. They're trying to get folks deeper inland.
Yeah, so we're seeing these types of messages from municipalities all around the bay. Because just because you're not on the ocean, on the coast, does not mean you won't be affected. Around the bay, that water level will also rise. San Francisco Mayor Lyndon Breed also posted a message on X. She talked about operating their emergency operating center in relation to the tsunami. And here's the warning that I think applies to all cities around the bay. And her warning is, please move off the coast and at least 1 block inland. 1 block inland. I've also seen messages from Berkeley asking people to stay away from the water. And the message, in fact, from Berkeley is saying stay off West Frontage Road, the Berkeley waterfront, Tom Bates Field, I-80 freeway, aquatic park, and all that would be considered tsunami zone.
Okay, I think we want to get into, bring in Drew Tuma, because we're just seeing, Drew, it looks like the tsunami warning is canceled. Is that right?
Yeah, I do want to get you. This just came in within the last 60 seconds or so from the National Tsunami Warning Center. The tsunami warning is canceled for all areas along the coast in California and Oregon. They have been looking at the buoys. They have observed no increase in wave heights around those buoys. So they do anticipate that we will not see any sort of tsunami along our coastline.
Evacuations underway right now as a tsunami warning is in effect for parts of Oregon and Northern California after a 7.0 earthquake. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. We do begin with breaking news. The U.S. Geological Survey saying the earthquake hit just off the coast of Humboldt County in Northern California around 11 a.m. local time. Our Alex Stone joins me now with more. We've been listening to the coverage out of San Francisco, our ABC affiliate, Alex KGO. What more do you know at this hour as you're covering things from L.A.?
Well, Kira, a bit more breaking news. We understand the tsunami warning was canceled just a moment ago. That's all the way from the Oregon border down to the Bay Area, where there had been concern that it was going to come ashore. We have been waiting. We've been watching for anything. Nothing has been seen. No reports that we've gotten. We don't know of any major damage from the earthquake itself, the 7.0. But now it was waiting for that tsunami and the potential that it was going to come ashore. We've been waiting, we've been watching for anything, and it looks like that now is not going to go on. The USGS has just canceled that as we are getting the details right now, and so far nothing has been seen coming ashore.
Okay, so this is good news. Tsunami warning has been canceled. So I guess our officials still bringing some live pictures right now, trying to keep, it looks like a lot of looky-loos heading to the coast. No surprise, Alex, to want to see what's going on. We even saw surfers out there in the waves. Not surprised by that as well. Growing up in California, you and I both know you can't stop a surfer even when there's a threat of a tsunami. But in all seriousness, what does this mean for people living along the coast there in Northern California?
Yeah, you know, it's a good question. In those pictures right there, right along the beach, they've been telling people to stay away from the water. But as you mentioned, people have been going there anyway. Surfers have been going. They've been in the water. And now we would assume that they're going to say that this is the all clear, that people don't need to worry about a tsunami coming in. The time had already gone by in much of Northern California, the Bay Area. The concern was going to be in about 9 minutes from right now. So the concern time was ending in much of the state, but this now being the all clear coming in.
All right, well, that's good news. Alex Stone, thank you so much. Definitely takes this story down a notch, but we still want to bring in the Assistant Coordinator, William Barnhart, from the United States Geological Survey Earthquake Hazards Program. Okay, we don't have a tsunami warning anymore. That's good news. What more can you tell us at this moment?
Hi, yeah, as you all have been talking about, there was a magnitude 7 earthquake about 10:45 local time today off the coast of California. Very luckily and encouragingly, we've seen that there was a tsunami warning that was issued that has since been retracted. Tsunamis are scary. It's good to see that there were people taking protective action to seek higher ground, and people should still continue to listen to local officials. But NOAA has removed that tsunami warning. That's consistent with the type of earthquake that occurred offshore. So we're not necessarily surprised to see that there was no tsunami, but again, really encouraging to see that that didn't happen. This was a decent-sized earthquake. A lot of people felt this. People who get earthquake early warnings throughout California and Oregon likely received the warnings for this earthquake. And there will continue to be earthquakes after this that people might feel. We've already seen about a dozen or so aftershocks. None have been particularly large, but there might be a few aftershocks that people feel and can cause more shaking that result from this earthquake. But again, as I think was previously mentioned, a little bit of a dodged bullet here because there's no tsunami and the earthquake was far enough offshore that most of that strong shaking was underwater.
And as you mentioned, and I grew up in Southern California, Northern California as well, so something like this doesn't necessarily surprise me, but we also know, William, there can be surprises. Well, this is no surprise seeing the surfers out in the water, right? There's always the risk takers, even though they're told not to do this, that still head out there because they want to catch a good wave. But when talking about subsequent earthquakes, you know, what else are you tracking here? What are your biggest concerns? Even though we seem to have dodged a bullet, like you said, what are you still concerned about and still tracking at this hour?
So we will continue to look